Welcome back, Internet, to my Walking Dead recap. This week I'll be recapping the episode entitled Claimed, because obviously The Walking Dead has yet again claimed another hour of your life that you will never get back. Fortunately, this episode was not that bad. I've heard people say it was a little bit slow, but I enjoyed it for a couple of reasons. I'd say I liked it mainly because of the introduction of the new characters, Sergeant Abraham Mustache, Rosita, I think that's her name, Rosita? Yeah. And Eugene. Eugene is the, I guess he's supposed to be a scientist, but he seems pretty incompetent and just very weird. I mean, Milton was pretty weird, but this guy seems exceptionally awkward. Rosita, they really haven't told us anything about her except for the fact that she likes to expose her midriff, which, nothing wrong with that. If you got it, rock it. And then, of course, Sergeant Abraham Mustache, he's got that handlebar mustache, reminds me of, I think it's Orange County Choppers, or West Coast Choppers, I forget which one, but the mustache, the mustache alone is pretty epic. But he seems pretty straightforward character so far. I mean, I'm sure we're going to get to learn more about him as it goes on, but they seem like, of all the people that they've met, throughout the series, I mean, every now and then, certain groups will team up and help each other, but a lot of human beings that people come across tend to be really scummy, and they seem like, on the surface, a pretty decent group of people. So, they helped make this episode a lot better, and some other aspects of it that I really enjoyed. Well, let me just break down, let me let you know what happened, because this is a recap, so I gotta recap what happened. So, we got Michonne and Carl, they're doing some bonding, and so we have their story. Basically, Carl and Michonne are talking about the pros and cons of soy milk. And then Carl makes himself sad by thinking about Judas infant formula and how that's infinitely better than soy milk, which, I don't know, I never had infant formula, so I really can't compare the two. Almond milk, on the other hand, is quite delicious, so that's probably what they should have really been debating about. So anyway, Carl and Michonne leave Rick at home, so he plays the role of Kevin McAllister, and he has to fend off the home from home invaders as they go off and do a little bit of bonding. So they go, and, Michonne's trying to cheer Carl up, because he's all gloomy now, like, oh man, I made myself sad, and so she's got a whole unopened can of Cheese Whiz, which can survive any apocalypse. She offers Carl some, and he's like, no, I didn't want any. So she sprays some in her mouth, and starts acting all goofy, trying to cheer him up. And he's like, oh, I'm sorry, that wasn't funny. He's like, oh no, it was. I was totally laughing on the inside. So yeah, good save there, Carl. But anyway, they're going inside the house. Michonne still has kind of a cheerier spirit, which is definitely a change from what we've seen from the previous season, or not the previous season, but the previous episode, where she seemed pretty upset and lip quivering. So now we're getting smiling Michonne until she walks into the kids' room. And there was not exactly playing going on, rather a family that had committed suicide. So it makes me wonder, were the family, was that to be ironic? I know obviously the producers of the show, that was the whole thing of Playtime's over. But I mean, the family themselves, the characters, were they you know what? We've lost all hope, but if anyone finds us, let's really bum them out, because there's every other room they could have done it in. They're like, nah, let's do it in the nice pink happy room. That would really bum people out. And maybe we'll get some visitors and they'll join us, kill themselves too. So that one kind of ends, their whole story isn't over. It kind of intersects with Rick. So we'll hop over to Rick as, Michonne's now sad and trying to hide the sadness from Carl. No, there's nothing in that room, nothing to see here. Let's move along, people. So basically, we go to Rick, and Rick's, woken up from his nap, from his slumber, and there are other people in the house, and you hear them, and it was directed a lot kind of like a horror movie, where you don't really, throughout most of it, you don't see the people, you just see from Rick's point of view, and he hides under the bed, and then one of the guys gets on the bed, and he has to try and keep silent, and he's all checking his watch, oh my god, when are these guys coming back, because this really sucks. This is not the vacation I was thinking it was going to be. Two of the dudes start wrestling on the bed, one of them gets choked out, and the other guy claims the bed as his prize, which, not a bad prize. I'm sure the pillows were feathered and quite plush. So anyway, so Rick's down there, and then finally he gets the chance to escape, and he had intentionally rendezvous with a dude in the bathroom and straight up just strangles him. So even a weakened Rick is still quite dangerous. But it was kind of funny. The whole time I'm thinking, like, where's your gun, Rick? You're in the zombie apocalypse. Why would you leave your gun? And then I remembered after like half of the episode was over, I'm like, oh, he gave it to Carl. Carl wasted all those bullets. That jackass. Way to go, Carl. Almost getting your dad killed. So anyway, Rick gets out of the house. He gets like an Uzi or something. And he's running through there like Sam Fisher style. And he's about to make his move and take out the guy sitting on the front porch when those guys are attacked by walkers. And in the distance, he sees Michonne and Carl coming back. So he pretty much warns them, like, yeah, we can't stay here anymore. You know, we got some. Apparently, they lost their squatters' rights. So they all leave. As they're leaving, they find a sign, you know, those who arrive survive. So everyone's going to Terminus. And so I think this is interesting. I like how they have like people from Terminus apparently have a street team to go around and canvass the area so everyone knows where they're at. So that was kind of cool. So they're on the train tracks. So obviously their paths will sooner or later collide with Carol and Tyrese. We didn't get to see Maggie this episode, or Sasha and Bob, so or Daryl and Beth, but I'm sure we'll see them in the next episode. But who we did see was Glenn and Tara, and so basically starts off and Sergeant Mustache is fighting some of the zombies, and Tara comes to help. Really, she loans him the butt of her gun to smash the zombie's face in, which is it's always cool. It's always a good way to make a firm first impression. So basically, you know, he gives her the spiel like, "Hey, we're here to save the world." And Eugene here, supposedly, he's claiming he knows the origin of the zombie outbreak, but it's classified. Which kind of had mixed feelings about that. Like, one is like, wait, there's still a government out there to even classify things. And two, it's like, really, like, you still have that type of loyalty. Like, you imagine that if this information gets out, like, what's going to happen? You're going to tell somebody who in, like, the next couple of hours might be killed. So I thought it was kind of amusing, but also intriguing. So, and it's also one of those things where it can easily be a red herring, because it's like, yeah, he's not telling anybody what's really going on. So, it built some intrigue. So, you know, they're on their way to Washington, and Glenn wakes up, and he decides to make a party foul and bash in their back windshield with the butt of his gun. So, obviously, Sergeant Mustache is not too happy about it, but, you know, he really didn't even lose his cool immediately, you know. Glenn's walking off, and he explains, you know, he has to go find his wife. And Sergeant Mustache is like, dude, sorry to break it to you, but your wife is probably dead. You're no good to her, just dying as well. You should go join me, save the world. I mean, saving the world is pretty big. And he even reiterates it later, like, you know, no offense to his wife. I'm sure she's a lovely lady, but saving the world, there, wife, about there. You know, priorities a little bit higher. So anyway, it's not until Glenn just punches him right in the mustache, ironically, and they start scrapping. And just as an aside, I would say probably since maybe mid-season 3, I really have not liked Glenn. Like, Glenn has just been this pouty, I don't know, he's been aggravating. He used to be so full of life and just like, oh man, I love Glenn. I don't want them to see Glenn die. And, you know, if he dies now, I kind of don't care. Like, Glenn's really just obnoxious. But anyway, they start fighting, and obviously, you know, you're in the middle of the road, in between some cornfields, you know, I wonder what's going to happen. So obviously, zombies start coming out, because, you know, everyone loves to be a spectator when a fight's going on, so they decided, you know, they get dinner with their entertainment, and they come out there, and Eugene's the only one that notices, and he's like, hey guys, and no one pays attention to him, because he's Eugene, he's got a mullet, no one pays attention to people with mullets, even if they're scientists, and no pertinent information that they won't share with anybody. So anyway, gets a gun, starts spraying around randomly. It's like, almost like you could let someone play first-person shooter for the first time, and that's pretty much what would happen. Just spilling bullets everywhere, no control. And he ends up finally getting their attention, so they all get down there, and they have a nice little shootout. You know, zombies are dropping like flies. No one gets killed, except for the truck. Rest in peace, the truck. Looks like he shot like the gas tank and probably some other important fluid containers. But nevertheless, the truck is out of commission, and they can't go on to their journey to save the world. Thank you, Glenn, and thank you, Eugene. Eugene has kind of a peculiar look on his face. Like, I feel like I'm calling it now. He did that on purpose, because he doesn't know anything, and he is a psychopath, and I think he's going to try and kill one of them in their sleep. That's my guess. That's my prediction, I think. I don't trust him. But you don't have information that important that you're not going to share with anybody when you obviously have no skills to preserve your life whatsoever. Just saying. So anyway, oh yeah, and they also had mentioned they were in contact with Washington until Washington didn't pay their phone bill. They couldn't get in contact with them. So something was kind of funny. It's like, well, if they suspect that something bad happened, maybe they're all dead. It's like, you're going to go there and do what? You know, I don't know, I guess warn them. But either way, that's pretty much the end of that section, and also the end of the episode. Oh, well, no. Rewind. So, basically, now their truck's kaput. You know, Tara's like, I'm going with you, Glenn. You know, she pretty much has that guilt from all her days running with the governor, old One Eye, and I'll do it to you. So she's going with Glenn. I just love how she doesn't, everyone else has holsters. Like, she just is just carrying her knife, like she's ready to stab anything that moves. So she goes with Glenn, and then Rosita, she joins them as well. And then Eugene's like, well, I'm not good to anybody else. Let me just go and join these guys. So, he convinced Sergeant Mustache. She's like, yeah, saving the world is important, but might as well go save his wife first. I mean, which was kind of what I expected to happen. I didn't expect these course of events, but it's like, well, if you're talking about you need people, you know, might as well get Maggie. Maggie is definitely a good asset to have. And so, yeah. So anyway, he joins his journey to help Glenn find Maggie. And, yeah, so I'm hoping that will happen in the next episode. At least we'll see some sort of glimpse of those teams uniting. And who knows, maybe they'll end up on the road to Terminus, because those who arrive survive. So that was it. It was a little slow at points, but overall I liked it. I really liked the part with Rick just trying to survive and just being scared under the bed. Like, I don't know. It was both amusing and also pretty thrilling. I mean, again, one of those things where it's like, you know they're not going to kill Rick. They're not going to kill Carl. They're not going to kill Michonne. Most other characters are fair game. Well, obviously not Daryl. But it was still nice to see how Rick would try and survive that encounter. And just Rick always, for the most part, always being, you know, very capable. And seeing him in a more vulnerable position was kind of interesting as well. And seeing him able to overcome and still be able to straight up strangle a dude like that, I don't know. Props to Rick for wanting to survive that much. So anyway, that's the end of my recap. And as always, you can go to punchinthewallsreality.com or ptwor.com. Subscribe to the video. I would much appreciate it. If you like the video or if you don't like the video, regardless of your feelings on said video, leave a comment, let me know. And until then, make sure you rock that midriff.